So many of you know that I grew up in Los Angeles. I've lived here my whole life. And I remember March 16th, 1991, there was a young woman, a young black girl, 15-year-old black girl. She was at a convenience store. An argument ensued over orange juice. She was shot in the back of the head as she turned to leave by the store owner named Sun Jadu. Subsequently, the store owner was charged with manslaughter. She was found guilty, and a judge at the Compton Municipal Court gave her 5 years probation. May 28th, 2023, a young black man, Cyrus Carmack Belton, 14 years old, who had just graduated from middle school on his way to high school, was in a store, a convenience store, much like Latasha Harlins, and he was shot by the store owner, Rick Chow. These stories show they're similar in the attitude about the people who patronize those stores and the people who own their stores. Now, I will not tell you that all people are the same, but I can tell you this. In my experience, where I grew up, there were a lot of times that people moved that were not from our communities, owned stores or beauty shops or food shops or hair supply shops. They moved to our communities. They were oftentimes disrespectful, and they profited off it. And they also learned a certain level of lack of respect for their customers. And I think that is what has perpetuated itself here. You have a store owner who has a young black person who is on the auspices of stealing something, and they all make this argument that that someone stole something from me, and someone dies over orange juice, or someone dies over water, or someone dies over any number of things that are supposed to have happened. The bottom line is they have learned that you can be disrespectful to black people. You can move in their communities. You can take what you want from them. You can serve them any kind of way. You can give them overpriced, cheap merchandise, and they will still patronize you. And I don't care if it's a grocery store. I don't care if it's a nail salon. I don't care if it's I remember a couple of years ago, there was someone who beat someone senselessly in a beauty supply shop in Oklahoma. And what did they do? They put bundles on sale. It irked me to hear about the young black man, Cyrus Carmack Belton, and one of the law enforcement officers was saying, we don't think it's a racial thing. Can you imagine that happened to anybody else? Can you imagine another store owner, a Korean store owner, shooting anybody else but a black person? Can you imagine that happening? I'm not saying that what was on their mind, but when you chase somebody down over water and you shoot them in the back under the auspices of you being afraid for your life, you have learned that. You've learned that about these people who live in this area, that you can treat any kind of way and do any kind of thing to. You've learned that you don't have to respect their life. You don't have to respect their money. You don't have to respect you don't have to respect any aspect of it. Because people will continue to service them. They will continue to patronize them. You cannot be oppressed by people who are supposed to serve you without your participation. I'm not saying this is all people, but too often this thing has repeated itself in maybe in any kind of innocuous ways. Now, one day is Sim Jadu shooting a young black kid for orange juice, and the other, and 30 years later, is Rick Chow shooting a black kid in the back for water. Are those things worth dying over? Are those things that important? You're so afraid for your life, you're shooting one in the back of the head as it turns to walk away, and one in the back as it runs away? You have learned through American history that you can treat black people any kind of way. And the only reason they come to those neighborhoods is because you will continue to tolerate it. You will continue to service them. They get rich off their indifference to you. They get rich off it. And I'm not casting aspersions. I'm not saying this is all. There are 4 million, 5 million Asian people. They're not all the same, much like we're not all the same. But too often the mentality of the people who live in our neighborhood, who work in our neighborhoods and own shop in our neighborhoods is one of indifference. The kind of indifference that gets people killed all too often. The kind of indifference that get people disrespected all too often. I remember growing up and going to a Smitty's liquor store on 135th and Avalon and having them ask me what I wanted and speak to me so disrespectfully. I thought it was natural. I'm not telling you that it is all people, but some of the people who have decided to make their fortunes in our neighborhood do it because they know we're going to tolerate it no matter what we do, no matter what they do. They can be as disrespectful. As long as they lower the prices or keep giving you things that you like, then you're going to keep coming. This boy shouldn't be dead any more than Latasha Harlins should be dead. And the lesson they have learned is that oftentimes you can do to us what everybody else has done to us, and that you will be a participant in. You can beat somebody half senseless. As long as you make the bundles lower, they'll keep coming. You can be disrespectful to somebody. As long as you make the Funyuns lower or the beer lower, they'll keep coming. Who is it that allows you to have this mentality? They couldn't do that to anybody else. I'm not saying the motive behind those people are racist. I don't know. But this kind of idea that you can treat people any kind of way and do any kind of thing to them is quintessentially American. Quintessentially American. I will move to your neighborhoods. I will enrich myself off you. I will be indifferent towards you. And you will continue to service me. You will continue to make me rich. You will make me rich off your misery. You will make me rich off your disrespect. You can only be oppressed if you keep participating in that oppression. I am sorry that these two young people are dead, but that was born of a mentality and an attitude that you can do whatever you want to us, and we'll accept it. That's a little note from the GED section. We got a jazz report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.